We'll first start numbers by understanding the classification of numbers. What are the various kind, how do we divide all the numbers. So this chart will give you a brief idea. The numbers that we deal with, that you have seen across your academic career in maths and all, they are real numbers. They are all called real numbers. They can broadly be classified into two groups, rational, irrational. Irrational can further be classified, say, very crudely in two groups, integers, fractions. Though integer can also be represented as a fraction, but we generally say integer and fraction. Now this is the part that we have mostly dealt with in our maths and all. Integers, whole numbers, natural numbers. Why have I given it in this order? This we will understand now. Let's start with natural numbers. The lowest part of this tree, the lowest part of this chart, natural numbers. Natural numbers, I'm sure you know this, but just to reiterate, are all positive numbers with denominator 1. Say 7. 7 by 1 is same as 7. That is why I said that integers can also be written as fraction. So natural numbers are basically positive, point number 1, and second, their denominator is 1. So it extends from 1 till infinity. Whole numbers identical to natural numbers except 0, which is neither positive nor negative. Remember this. Many of us make a mistake of considering 0 as positive. 0 is neither positive nor negative. So if you include 0 in natural number, this is called whole number. So simple. Integer is natural number, whole number plus the negative side of it. So whole number is 0 till positive. If you add minus from 0 to negative infinity, but at the same time the denominator 1, right? It's not a fraction. These are called integers. And rational numbers means, as we saw in the chart also, it includes all the integers plus the other fractions, mixed or proper, whatever other fractions. 2 by 3, 7 by 9, 11 by 15, 37 by 3. So these numbers, when you add to integers, that whole set is called natural numbers. Rational numbers. Now rational number can be represented on a number line. We will understand that later. But coming back to this now, the basic definition of a rational number is anything which can be written as p by q. There has to be a numerator and a denominator, it's a rational number. So how about 10? Because 10 can be written as 10 by 1. So we understood rational number means integers and fractions, very simply put. Another way in terms of decimals to look at rational number is there are two types of decimals. Either terminating, non-recurring, or recurring, non-terminating. Recurring, non-terminating. Okay, don't get confused by the words, these are very simple. Terminating means something that ends. So decimal means whatever will come after that decimal point. Okay, say for example 5.37, 6.8598. So they terminate, they end. I don't need to put anything after 7 here or after 8 here, so they are called terminating. Why non-recurring? Because there is no pattern, there is no repetition, right? Second one is recurring, non-terminating. For example, say 10 by 3. All of you know that 10 by 3, if we calculate, we will get something like this, 3.33333 and so on, right? Or say 100 by 7. If you calculate 100 by 7, you will get 14.2857, and so on. Okay. So you see, they are examples of decimals which are recurring, following a certain pattern. The same numbers are being repeated. It could be in any form, but the numbers being repeated. They are also rational number because they can be converted in a fraction p by q, which is the very basic essence, the basic criteria of being called a rational number. How do we do this? We will understand in another module. Okay. Now let's come to the other part, the opposite of rational, irrational number. Irrational number is very simple, which cannot be represented as a fraction. And what is the most common representation of irrational number? Square root of a non-perfect square. Example, square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 5. They all belong to irrational number. Okay. So rational and irrational put together, real numbers. So this is the whole universe of maths, but there are some other numbers which generally we don't deal with. It's called, these are called imaginary numbers. They are not actual numbers in real, but they are generally used to help in some calculation. For example, we know that square root of only a positive number can be derived. For example, root over 4 is 2. But what is the square root of minus 4? There is no such explanation. You can find the square root of a positive number only, right? So when we have square root of a negative number, these are called imaginary numbers. The most common form is I, which is written as -1. But in imaginary numbers, few things you have to keep in mind. For example, if I have root over -5 into root over -8, this is not equal to root over -40. Okay, so these are a few things that we have to keep in mind. This will be equal to, say, I can write it as 40i, 40 into root over -1. Okay, alright, thank you.